Hello, everybody. As I promised, I'm back with two very, very interesting people. One of my favorites people on that I met online, Abhishek Asthana and Dr. Shomdat. Now, you must have seen with me with Shom in a couple of days ago when when Shom invited me on her show. This is not really a payback. This is essentially to give a shout out to this amazing woman who has started up so many companies, has been a very successful businesswoman covered by almost every media house in the country. Shom currently heads the Acidus Group. She's also the founder of the Acidus Group. Coming to Abhishek, Abhishek को आप लोग शायद गब्बर सिंह के नाम से जानते होंगे ट्विटर पे. 1.3 million followers, right, Abhishek?
Yeah.
अभिषेक बिहार से हैं और अभिषेक ने अभी जिंजर मंकी नाम की एक स्टार्टअप है उनका, जी फर्म है उनका. और मैं अभिषेक आपसे शुरू करना चाहती हूँ. ये अदरक बंदर कैसे आया साथ में? देयर इज एन इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी बिहाइंड इट, आई रिकॉल. थोड़ा बात कीजिए इसके बारे में.
तो ये एक्चुअली क्या हुआ कि शुरू ओके कूल स्टोरी ये थी कि पहले मैं मार्केटिंग में था. मतलब आई वाज एट द साइड बीइंग द क्लाइंट साइड एंड आई वाज मैनेजिंग ब्रांड्स एंड स्टफ. And while I was there, I was handling Durex as one of the brands. And what I was doing there was I was also creating this in-house team, basically, which was creating a lot of Durex creatives. You would have seen in the last 1 or 2 years, a lot of Durex creatives coming out of with Indian context and everything. Earlier, Durex had an international equity. And we thought that we can leverage that equity and make something interesting in India as well. And we started creating stuff out of our office in Gurgaon. And it got a lot of traction. I mean, after a point, started getting featured on like different media houses and stuff. So that gave me an idea that fine. So that was the part where you get a lot of likes and shares and engagement. But the point is, when you're running a business, ultimately, if it's affecting the business or, I mean, providing a sales uplift or not, that's the proof of the pudding. And after a point of time, we saw that actually it was happening. There was a sales uplift as well. Then it gave me an idea that now that there's this mass online is critical enough to move the needle in terms of sales as well. So that's when I thought that now is the time basically to move out and basically help other brands as well with whatever expertise we had gathered over the last 2 years or something. And also while I was online as Gabbar Singh, I mean, more like an experiment for the last 10 years, I was there. Every day I would wake up and it was fun. It was like a hobby thing, right? It never felt like as if I'm investing time, consciously spending time here and to get out of this something. So what happened was that experience also helped. So when I started this, we started getting a lot of calls from different people and organically we grew. We got initial client was MobiQuick. Then we got Durex was one of the clients that when I came out, that was the first thing they told me, fine, you can handle this as well. And then we had AirAsia, we had, Bounce, Paytm, MobiQuick. Everyone basically came along. So now we have now what is happening after the last, I guess, 1 month ago, we had launched the website and stuff. And every day we get a call from at least a client, we won't do with good work with you. So even Mitro app approached us.
Okay.
You would have heard. So yeah, this is a basic story. I mean, I keep telling this to people. I mean, yeah. That's the long and short of it, yeah.
Shom, you've been a woman who has been an inspiration and will continue to be an inspiration for, I think, generations to come. What made you venture into entrepreneurship? As far as I understand, your family doesn't really have a history of businesses and entrepreneurship, right?
Absolutely. Sure. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me on your show. It's such a popular show now. Indeed, it started in a very funny way. So both my parents are doctors. Indeed, my family is only been in either they're bureaucrats or engineers or doctors. Especially from my mom's side, everybody is in medicine. So being the only child of my parents, it was pretty much expected that that's what I'm going to pursue. That's what I'm going to take up. But when I used to go with my father to Calcutta Club show, I would, and I'm from Calcutta. That's where my roots are from. So we would go to Calcutta Club, which is one of the most well-known club, and you would have all these great Marwari entrepreneurs there who would come in really fancy cars. And my dad and I would then go in our white ambassador. And well, ambassador is right now, like, even one of the best cars to go in. But I would see these people, they would come in, this really fancy cars, and they would smoke their cigars, and they would have the best scotches. Of course, I didn't know the scotches and all that time, but I would see them leading a very fancy life. And we had a very humble life show, very, very humble. My parents are extremely down to earth. Profession, medicine to them is more of service to people than earning a lot of money, which is now what has become as a trend. But I wanted that too. That's the life I wanted, and I say this with absolute honesty that it excited me that they had so much, right? As I started my journey into entrepreneurship, what I had as an aspiration when I was a 15 or 16-year-old girl versus when I started the journey, that thought process changed. Then it was about being more self-sufficient. It was about not having to give away your dreams to somebody else and make another company rich when you could do it for yourself and make others, like, hire others and be that inspiration to others. So that is how it started. So I wanted to share with you where it started. But as an entrepreneur over the years, as I have grown in life, those aspirations have changed. So that's how my journey actually started off.
Abhishek, there is a question for you. Somebody is asking you to elaborate more on your on being Gabbar Singh for 10 years.
Oh. So it's interesting, actually. See, I never thought this run will prolong this long. I was like, see, for any internet content creator, I always feel there is a window of relevance, right? I mean, you are relevant for a while. Your mannerisms, your humor, your insight would be valid for a while, and then you'll be replaced by someone else who's younger and who has more incisive views than you, because of course they have the privilege of listening to other people as well who have come before them. So while I was doing this, I was also mindful of this fact that I'm not losing sight of my own career. Being from a mid-class to lower middle-class family, I was always mindful of this fact that I can't let go of that because I have no safety net as such. Neither the government nor my family can give me that. So I'm the one who will be basically guiding a lot of others in my family as well, because I was, of course, the eldest in not just my nuclear family, but also the extended family as well. So I had to be the one basically who shows the light as such. So yeah. So what happened was that then, so I was like traditional engineering, then went for on-site, and then MBA happened, and traditional FMCG career and everything. So I was basically ticking off the boxes, basically what usually you see any MBA guy do. And only till last year when I felt like that now this 10 years of Gabbar Singh has built some kind of safety net for me. At least some kind of relevance is there. If suppose I go out, if suppose this fails and suppose I go out, at least I'll get a job. I mean, someone will be generous enough to give me a job. So then this was a very courageous decision anyway, because being Gabbar Singh and putting out thoughts every day, and sometimes not being politically correct as well, I thought that someday some guy will file an FIR against me, and that will be the day when my parents would call me and say कि ये सब बंद करो बकवास. So then I was like, नहीं ठीक है चलने देते हैं, चल रहा है. तो I started getting media mention as well. That's when the parents also noticed कि हाँ कुछ तो हो रहा है. So and that also gave them this confidence that fine, if suppose this guy starts on his own someday, there is a chance of some kind of success. So that's why, I mean, of course, I mean, had this not been there, this Gabbar Singh thing, I would have never thought of starting up anyway. I mean, I would have been the traditional kind of employee all my life. Yeah.
Shom, your journey is interesting, but also speaks volumes about your parents who stood by you in every decision that you took, especially when it came to your career. So, but what message do you have for women out there whose parents are not very open to the idea of a girl really taking up that position and saying that, okay, I want to start up? What message and what advice do you have for such young entrepreneurial mindset which are being nurtured in the country today?
So, Shubh, one very important thing to clarify is that my parents were actually not very supportive initially at all, right? Yes, I actually ran away from home, and I do not suggest this to any of your viewers who are watching today, because it's very, very important to stand up for what you believe in, but it's also important to be rebellious with a cause, because a lot of times you rebel and then you realize that the cause was not worth. So I did that purely because my dad had given me a choice, Shubh, that either you pursue medicine or you don't have any help from us, right? And I know why he did that, because a lot of children, they basically revolt against their parents to prove a point, but then they fall flat on their face. So my dad wanted to push me into the ocean to see if I can actually swim. I realized that later. At 16, I felt that I was being, completely tormented and tortured for my decision to be that time it was not an entrepreneurship. That time, not wanting to be a doctor and to pursue economics and management was what made me leave home. So, but when I came to Bangalore, and when I started up, one of the things that I realized is that that journey of struggle is constant, whether you are working or whether you're an entrepreneur. Remember something, Shubh, even those who are working in companies, there is a battle that they fight every day, because there is so much competition, there is so much politics, and it's there everywhere, right? Indeed, I think I'm very lucky as an entrepreneur because I'm in charge. I am able to see my visions, see the light of the day. And Abhishek can concur with that thought, because today, if I want to build a brand, I don't have to go and take 10 approvals from someone.
Yep.
As long as I have the data, I have the insights, I have a validation, I can start up. The second thing, I don't think entrepreneurship has a gender show. It is a mindset. Parents often, whether you are a son or a daughter, would tell you to take up something which is a little more safer. It is up to us children to convince them that whether it's entrepreneurship or whether it's a job, safety is nowhere. Today, the number of people that have lost jobs due to the pandemic is monumental, right? But look at us, we are hiring, we're not firing, because we pivoted. We have a company which is so viable right now because we're so e-commerce that we are growing at 3x, 4x compared to other companies which have let go of people. And I hate to say this on your show, but it's the truth. We've hired people from Ola who have been let go, but we've hired them because they were looking for jobs and we had requirement. So the answer is very simple, Shubh, that challenge is not something which is related to just the job that you do or a venture that you start. It is there in every part of life. Whether parents are going to agree to something or not is pretty much seeing the success. Like Abhishek said, that when he started getting mentions, when he started getting recognized, his parents started feeling comfortable. So success is very subjective. Effort is what is very important, whether it's your work or whether it's entrepreneurship. I think that's what has kept me going. That's what has given my parents the faith. And that took a lot of time to come around, like and be okay with this, what I'm doing, right? Because I'm taking a risk every day. So
Absolutely.
I think that journey is going to be constant no matter what work you do, what life you lead. And even when you are choosing your life partners, I think even then there is a question of right or wrong. So I think that debate is going to be there no matter what you do in life.
Abhishek, this is a question I'm asking because a lot of viewers of my Facebook live sessions are from Bihar. बिहार में अभी भी पैसा कमाना एक पाप है. आप एक सीमित पैसा कमाइए जिसमें आपका घर चल जाए, परिवार चल जाए. गांव में अगर आप रहते हैं तो 2 गाय पाल सके, शहर में रहते हैं तो 1 कुत्ता पाल सके. इसके बियॉन्ड अगर आप कमा रहे हैं, कुछ गलत कर रहे होंगे. इतना पैसा तो नहीं रहता है किसी के पास. इस माइंडसेट इस माइंड्स बिकॉज हमारा जो बैकग्राउंड रहा है वो भी उसी तरह का बैकग्राउंड है.
एब्सोल्युटली.
किस तरीके से आपने इस माइंडसेट, जैसा शोम ने कहा कि उन्होंने अपने जीवन में, ठीक है, she ran away and she did whatever she did and then she presented an example. How did you fight it out at home?
About the sin of earning money, is it?
The sin of earning money. Yes.
Yeah. So I think entrepreneurship, I guess, is more about passion than money, I would say. Because I remember, I mean, though I told you the story about how exactly this happened, but this particular seed of thought germinated a long time ago. I remember I was in Bangalore at that time, and I was coming from my office was in CV Ramannagar. I was working at Samsung Electronics that time. So from Samsung R&D to my house in BTM, we used to have like a bus, and you know how Bangalore is basically. Every other commute takes about 1.5 hours. And one of those times in that journey, like it was 10, 11 years ago actually. This was before Twitter even. So I was coming back and I was just scribbling some thoughts on a notepad, basically. You used to have feature phones that time, so there was no smartphone to type in. So I remember I was writing some ad ideas, basically about. I used to write earlier anyway, so that was a thought basically about writing stuff, creating stuff. I had a blog earlier as well. So I remember calling a friend and telling her that you know what my long term goal is. She was from IIM, so I was always have this fascination that fine, I need to get into a B school and stuff. So I told her that you know what my long term goal is to get a cons Golden Lion, maybe an ad award. So I was always fascinated about advertising as such. But I thought that, but you know what, the traditional middle class mindset that you also want to earn money while following your passion. It can't be just following your passion without being hand to mouth, because there are a lot of other dependents as well. So you can't be just leading a life which you can think that you can lead a life hand to mouth. You can stay in a 1 BHK and aram se chalega, but they're dependents as well, right? So and there are a lot of dreams they have associated, they have pegged on you. So you can't let them down as such, just to be your own fucker self. So then I thought that the best case would be to do a marketing MBA and then become a brand manager. Maybe then you'll be able to do those creative things. But that was not to be, actually. I mean, brand managers usually is a glorified project manager. Usually you are the one who is supposed to know nothing, but just be able to manage everything. Basically, it's like a conductor who basically manages all of the divisions and is the one who gets things done usually. So I realized that was not something. Even my creative agencies were like feeling awkward that why this guy is like stepping on our shoes. I mean, our job is to be creative, not this guy. This guy is a brand manager, and I didn't realize that before my MBA. I thought that this could be somewhere where I can, flex my creative muscles and be that, and while earning money as well, while earning a decent amount of money. And then I thought that being in an advertising setup won't get me that bit. Basically, I won't be able to sustain myself. So
Right.
then that's when I thought that this is the best case scenario where you are owning a business as well and also being creative. So coming back to the previous point about the sin of earning money, money never came to me as a primary thought of entrepreneurship. I thought this is a time where I can see my ideas come to light and help. So you know what, the validation when you do something creative at night, 1 o'clock, you would go back and see how people reacted to your work, right? That is the kind of passion you have. You are not bothered about. I'll tell you what, very frankly, this month I haven't sent out the invoices yet for the last month. I could have done that in the first of this, but sometimes you feel like, okay, here's the yaar. But it's not like never like I have to earn a lot of money to be here. Though I know, being from a P&L background, I know that how much cash flow is important. I have been very mindful of this fact. I have not taken any debt so far. I haven't diluted my equity to anyone. Though there were a lot of people who wanted to invest in this startup, I was like, the moment I take investment, I'll be another employee. So that was a feeling I had. So that's what the thing is. I mean, like, we crossed a certain milestone this past year. We want to double it next year. And we are seeing a lot of even my ex-employers have asked me again to come on board and stuff to do a project. So there's a lot of interest as such from the industry, from the bigger names you would hear. So that will happen, but that will happen only when you basically keep on doing good stuff, keep on doing creative stuff. And I tell my clients basically, if you have any doubt on Gabbar Singh, maybe go check the website and check the work out. And body of work is the best proof in the pudding.
Shom, you've been an investor in so many companies. If you have to convince somebody like Abhishek, what would be your line of argument? No, I'm asking this question also because there's a group in Patna. They basically run this co-working space, and they're a team of extremely talented young individuals. Might not have the kind of safety net that we have been able to build over our span in the career. So what is your suggestion to people out there? Why do you think why do you want to invest in interesting businesses, and how do you convince people to reach out to you and pitch their ideas?
Yeah. Shubh, so one of the things, I understand where Abhishek is coming from, because that was my mindset when I started up. But there's a very big difference between when you're doing services and when you're doing tech, right?
Yeah,
or you're
sure.
doing things like co-working. some of the things, investment doesn't necessarily mean, so especially to the viewers who are listening, I think it's very important to understand how investment happens. So investment, doesn't always mean you take a round of money from a VC or a venture capital only or a private equity only. I'm an angel investor. What an angel investor typically means is that somebody who has a certain amount of funds to be able to invest in business ideas which are going to be scalable and something that typically they can resonate with and they can contribute with. So the companies that I've invested in, some of them have gotten acquired, some of them have scaled, some of them have failed. The reason I've invested in them is two reasons. One, I believed in the founders because I saw that the founders have a lot of potential. Two, I saw that the innovation that they were building is very disruptive in nature. It's something that has a lot of potential. As a entrepreneur myself, I have taken money. I've taken money from angels, I've taken money from VCs, and I've also taken money from bank. And the reason I'm sharing this journey is it's important, especially we all come from middle class background. So my dad and mom don't have multi-million dollars in their bank to be able to support my ideas. And I wouldn't have even gone to them asking them for help, because when I wanted to start up, I wanted to do it on my own standing. I was very young. I was in my mid-20s, and therefore I didn't have a lot of savings. I put whatever savings I had, and the remaining I went ahead and I took angel investment. So if I have to talk to someone like Abhishek, I don't want Abhishek to ever feel that taking funding or diluting your equity means giving away your rights. Abhishek, I built my first company, Unspun, by taking both VC funding as well as angel funding, but I never diluted more than 25% of my shareholding, which means the decision-making power always remained in my hands. So building valuation is very important. How do you build valuation? In Abhishek's case, he's already a cash positive company, which means he's making enough more than what he actually is spending, which it's a profitable company. So he can actually go for a round of valuation with a good auditor and value the company at an X, like, maybe 10 million or $12 million. And then he wants to dilute a percentage of that because he wants to grow the company. Now, what does growth mean? In services sector, growth means people intensivity. In tech sector, growth means R&D. So in my case, it was investment in R&D. And in the team that you're talking about, Shubh, who's there in Patna, who are actually building co-working there, it's an investment in the infrastructure. That investment is very crucial. And banks often are not very comfortable giving you that money because it's not something that they can tomorrow sell off. Because once you invest in infrastructure, it's gone. There is immediate depreciation. So you can't get the return on the investment. So banks are not very comfortable investing in projects like that. So they have to go to an investor. And there's nothing wrong in it because it's a scalable model. It's people intensive. So the more people are going to use it, the more they're going to use, the more the return on investment.
I just wanted to comment. See, the thing is, I put it very simplistically that fine, I don't need funding because funding could be like.
Coming from, yes.
So the thing is, I had a very the kind of philosophy I went in with this business was revenue funding the business, basically revenue funding the expansion. I'll be very honest. I'll tell you, I started this business with 11,000 rupees, and we crossed 1 crore this year, in the very first year of our operation. And next year, if suppose we might grow, I mean, see, 1 crore is still a less amount of time and amount of money for someone basically building a different kind of businesses are there. But we are also mindful of the fact for margins as well. So being from an FMCG, I was very mindful of the fact that the margins have to be sustainable enough so that I can fund this business with the money I'm making, right? All the hiring. So I hired 1%, then 2%, then 3%. I've been very, very selective in my hiring as well, and the kind of projects I'm picking up, because as I tell my clients as well, simple funda hai ki ये पहले साल में जो ये basically इसलिए कि मैं अपना घर बना रहा हूँ और आप मुझे पैसा दे रहे हो, तो ये वही वाली बात है कि अभी अपना घर बना रहा हूँ, तो ये घर देख के बाकी लोग आएंगे मेरे पास, तो ये घर आप फंड कर रहे हो मुझे बनाने के लिए, तो आई वांट टू डू द बेस्ट वर्क बेसिकली, आप जो भी काम दोगे हम करेंगे. देखिए पॉइंट ये होता है ना कि ये भी होता है कि कई बार लोग आते हैं आपके पास कोई मार्केटिंग चैलेंज लेके. आई रिसेंटली वाज अप्रोच्ड बाय अ सीईओ ऑफ अ जर्मन फर्म. बेसिकली दे हैव अ वेरी स्पेसिफिक मार्केटिंग प्रॉब्लम कि यार हमारा आई टेल यू इट विल कम आउट इन अ वीक्स टाइम मे बी, कि हमारी ये प्रॉब्लम है मार्केटिंग चैलेंज, आप कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं इसको. तो व्हेन वी थॉट कि व्हाई कांट वी डू समथिंग व्हिच इज ऑफ बीट, व्हिच इज नॉट यूजुअली डन बाय अदर पीपल. I got together with my team and we figured out a solution and we presented to the CEO, and within 10 minutes he said, "Fine, I'm done, I'm sold." So I like, "ठीक है." So that's a kind of, yeah.
You said something very beautiful that मैं अपना घर बना रहा हूँ और आप उसको फंड कर रहे हो, तो घर की वैल्यूएशन होती है. आपको याद होगा शायद हमारे मम्मी पापा बताते थे कि क्यों हमें प्रॉपर्टी में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि प्रॉपर्टी अप्रिशिएट होती है, उसकी वैल्यूएशन बढ़ती है, वो घर की वैल्यूएशन है. सो वो वैल्यूएशन हमेशा आपको याद रखना है कि आई शुड ऑलवेज गेट द राइट वैल्यूएशन. कि कल अगर एक सर्विसेज कंपनी में दो ही राउट होता है ग्रो करने का, या तो यू बिकम लाइक a huge advertising and branding company, right? Like an O&M and all of that, or you get acquired by one. So अगर आपको acquisition के लिए भी plan करनी है, because unless you're investing in technology, you have patent, scale खत्म हो जाता है. We have to be practical. Why did I sell my first companies? Because उसकी growth उतनी तक ही होनी थी. Beyond that, it wouldn't have grown because it's I knew where the limitation of tech was. So we were acquired by a company which was a way bigger company. So for you, आज you are building ये घर अपना फंडिंग से, जो आपको क्लाइंट आपको फ्री में नहीं दे रहा है, वो आपसे सब कुछ लेके आपको पैसा दे रहा है. तो वो आपको इंश्योर करना पड़ेगा कि आप वैल्यूएशन बनाओ, ताकि कल अगर आपको इसको if you want to grow it, nothing like it. If you even want to sell it, and that's a very smart thing to do as an entrepreneur. Build, sell.
Yeah.
आपको correct valuation.
Yeah, मेरा फंडा है कि never say never. It's not like I'm averse to it. I'm saying कि right now क्यों नहीं किया मैंने, इसका ये reason था. हो सकता है आगे जाके कुछ ऐसा आ जाए तो
मैंने भी शुरुआत वैसे की. हाँ, हम जैसे मिडिल क्लास के लोग, अभिषेक, we don't have that kind of liquidity to do everything, but take small steps at a time.
We have always taken baby steps since the last 30 years. The thing is that. Yeah, so that's the whole philosophy behind this. Pragmatism, yeah. I mean, every day you realize something new and you change your philosophy basis that. Yeah, that's the whole thing of the game.
To kind of summarize the question you asked in one answer is that to scale, either you have to have your own funds or you need to seek for funds, and there is nothing wrong in doing it as long as you build the right valuation for the company and you're not diluting your power of decision making. That is very, very important.
Yep, very important. For me, that's very important actually. That I should be, the reason I moved out of a corporate setup was basically, sometimes I was like constrained by that fact that I can't take my decisions. There was someone who would be, and there's a lot of, there's a lot of complexity as well. No, you know what? Humans are complex people. I mean, a more number of people, there'll be complexities in terms of egos, in terms of, vested interest, this, that, ambition. So all this is a very complex cocktail altogether. And someone who is ambitious and who is very forthright, it's very difficult. I mean, a pragmatic person who with more of brain, less of heart, can survive. Can be like, yeah, I can adapt myself and basically win and get small wins. But someone who is a bit passionate about their work, I have seen multiple people like that who are really passionate about their work. Suddenly they get disillusioned with the day-to-day work they're doing. They went in with a lot of enthusiasm, but suddenly they felt like this is the place where I don't know, I can't change things, I can't do new things. I have to comply to other people. So for rebels, corporate setup is very, very difficult to survive.
I agree, especially people who are very emotional.
True.
So, which brings me to another question. Both of you are politically extremely savvy individuals, highly opinionated, and keep pontificating on issues left, right, and center. How does it impact your business? Do you ever think कि ये लिखने के बाद क्या इसका impact होगा, मेरे clients क्या सोचेंगे? And the kind of coverage, for example, in case of Shom, the kind of coverage I'm getting in media, do you think these kind of tweets are going to impact? ये thought आता है दिमाग में या कभी भी नहीं आता?
So Abhishek, if you allow me, I'll share this. पहले तो मतलब कभी भी दिमाग में नहीं आता था. मतलब when I because first of all, most of my clients were from outside India, तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था. But then as I started expanding, I think Shubh went. So, as I started expanding...
No, I'm not one. I'm just drinking water, so I'm just taking this water.
Okay. So as I started expanding, started working with a lot of government initiatives and all, then I would definitely hear people, like literally people calling me and saying, क्या कर रही है यार, मतलब it sounds very anti-government, you should delete this tweet, or you should not I'm telling you very honestly, and there are people who are like, so Shubh, in 2014, I worked very closely on the campaign for BJP. I worked with a lot of people here, including Mr. Anand Kumar, because he was that time working against Nandan Nilekani, and you know the background, so few people that I worked with and all of that stuff. So over time, when I started having opinions or things that I said, what I thought was logical. It's not about pro-government or anti-government. It's about what is right for the citizen. Because we are, we need to understand the aspects of that. So I had people call me up and say, listen, you're doing this government project. The project may actually go away, so be careful. I'm like, what? What? Like, you mean to say that, is it like a threat or a warning? Like, what is it? No. We're just your well-wishers. So, वो delete कर देना, वो tweet की क्या जरूरत है? So, and this is not something personal at all. This is something which is completely where a government has maybe introduced a policy which I did not think was in the right taste. I'm talking about a couple of years back. And I talked about it, and I literally had people call me and say that, you should delete that or not. But Shubh, I can't change myself. I can't stop having an opinion because I am fearful about losing an opportunity. Nobody gave me an opportunity. I built everything on my own. The only people I'm answerable to are the people who work for me, because they are my family. I'm accountable to them, and I'm accountable to my parents and the Almighty up there. I'm not accountable to anyone else. So if somebody doesn't want to work with me, sorry, it's your loss. But at the end of the day, that's why we started building a product company where I'm not dependent on others giving me work. I'm not dependent on services. I'm not dependent on pleasing clients. My consumers are my clients, and if they like my product, they buy my product and they stay with my product. So over time that has changed, but to answer that, a lot. But I never changed. So I never changed. I like that. You are just like that, is why I connected with you so much. And I have to say this to everybody watching. You're much younger to me, but I'm your fan. And the reason I'm your fan is because you have your heart and mind in the right place. You don't care two hoots about anybody, and that's what makes you so exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
sorry, Abhishek. Today is not about me, Shubh. And on this question of tweeting and writing and speaking and going quote unquote out of the brief, I have always been that person. And the way I have always responded to right from childhood, it was always about, you need good marks, I'll get you good marks. Beyond that is my life. You can't question me there. So that has always been my funda. And I'm not at any point in time, I have not done anything which is considered socially or morally obnoxious. So that has always given me a moral high ground as well in front of the stakeholders that I have been dealing with. So as I said, I'm not going to change. I think all the three of us sitting here, people are not going to change our opinions because XYZ doesn't like it. It's their problem that they don't like.
And like you said, Shubh, morally, ethically, I have never ever done anything that is questionable. So therefore, it never, crosses that mind that, oh my God, somebody may have something against me, so I should keep quiet. No, I think as long as you're clean from that perspective, people also allow you to have an opinion.
Yeah, true.
Abhishek, your story.
So I think it would be doing a disservice actually. See, the thing is, as I said, that this was over a period of 10 years been my safety net, which I have built. And I have built this safety net by being opinionated, right? By having opinions. Now, suddenly, after I'm using that safety net, suddenly I turn coat and say that fine, I won't be like speaking my heart or something like that, right? See, it's about not defaming a particular person or an entity, point blank, right? But if suppose I see some journalist being obnoxious, some journalist being a hypocrite maybe or something like that, I'll point that out, right? And I'll have a good reason for it as well. It's not going to be like mindless abuse. If suppose I'm having an opinion, it might be wrong or right, but I'll at least provide a reason for it. I'll at least provide a logic behind it. And it's up to you to refute or accept that logic. Totally. I mean, I don't claim to be perfect. Sometimes I'll make mistakes as well. And sometimes I'll take that back as well and confess that I made a mistake. But that won't stop me from maybe putting out an opinion 2 days later, a day later, maybe. And the question of being being more mindful of this fact that now you are into a business and there are a lot of clients who are looking at you for your opinion, and basically a kind of a partner you have. Um, uh, I do sometimes when I talk about brands, I won't be like bad mouthing other brands. If I see a bad advertising or something like that, I won't just go around saying ये तो बेकार है, घटिया है ये. वो नहीं करेंगे. मतलब ये थोड़ा सा sometimes it might be construed as it's motivated as well. So I avoid that usually these days. But in terms of putting out opinions on controversial issues, I don't hold back. I mean, you can't change yourself, as Som said wonderfully well, that you can't be not yourself and suddenly at one point in time. You have to be yourself. That's been your core DNA, and that will see you through for another 5-10 years here on this platform.
Correct.
You know, while we are having this conversation, I'm suddenly thinking that, especially in the political climate that we have, all of us are voters also at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if we are employing like 10 people with us and we are working as a team, then one company is equal to 20 votes. Why would any politician not listen to an opinionated person like all the three of us and give away 20 votes? Like, instead of us being extremely mindful of what we tweet or what we write, they should be ensured about their moves, whether they're politically correct or not.
But Shubhasa, there's a point there. We are not a vote bank.
We are not a vote. Yeah.
Not all 20 of us gonna vote the same. So that's the freedom we have. I mean, everybody is free to have their own opinion and own vote. So it's not like that. I mean, the point is, the only thing one founder has to be mindful of this fact that they are not jeopardizing the interests of their employees by being brash, right? It's not happen at the end of the day that you are losing business and you come and tell them that, because I was opinionated, I lost business, and now I have to let you go, right? Or maybe cut your salary or something because because of me, the cash flow is suffering right now for no fault of yours. So that is the one responsibility you have to be taking care of while being a founder. That's the difference I feel. That now you are like a kind of responsible for other people as well who have put their faith in you, being a small setup and not going to a bigger company, right? So,
it's the same thing I was saying, Shubh, right? That the employees who work for me and my family are the people that I'm accountable to because they're dependent on me, right? And when I've taken their responsibility, I cannot dishonor that at my own personal whims and fancy. But I've been keeping that in mind. I think having an opinion is just an expression of the right that has been given to us. But we got to be cautious because I see a lot of people have an opinion for the sake of an opinion and really not have any justification to it because they have a political ideology. Well, that's something I don't subscribe to. That is something I don't subscribe to. That I am, just because I voted for an ex-government does not mean that I'm not going to question or criticize, because that's the empowerment I have as a citizen of the country. And I'm going to do that with even if somebody is in the opposition, because that's the whole reason of having the opportunities that we have today.
Yeah, true.
Okay, now I'll want to stir away from politics, get both of you back to business. Currently, is it the right time to start up? Give your thoughts on that, especially because there are so many youngsters out there who have lost jobs. I mean, Shom, you've been telling me for the past 2 months that you've been hiring a lot, especially from people who completely lost their jobs. And this lockdown has really been bad for many youngsters out there. I mean, I personally know at least 25, 30 people who have lost their jobs in the past 2 months. So please suggest something for those youngsters who want to start up, and also those who have lost their jobs but do have an idea that they might want to work on.
Right. So, Shubh, there are two parts to this question that you asked me. One is, does everybody have to become an entrepreneur? No, I don't think that's necessary, because entrepreneurship doesn't just mean I start up something of my own. There's a lot of other things associated with it. There's a lot of accountability in terms of how you run a business. Okay, you have a company, and Abhishek can tell you about it. From there is audit, there is income tax. There's a lot of things that comes as a liability if you start up as a company, right? But individuals can become self-sufficient on their own, and I say this with a lot of learning from my past, that pandemics like this, situations like this, Shubh, is actually an opportunity, is not an adversity, especially for India because of the youth population that we have. See, everybody outside have always looked at India as an outsourcing company, like outsourcing opportunity, right? That's how the BPO revolution happened in India. Now think about the platforms that exist today. And I'm going to share this because all those people who've lost your jobs, guys, it may be the time to upskill, because what happens is when a pandemic like this happens and you realize that, hey, offline, the opportunities are reducing. That's why Airbnbs or Olas or OYOs are, firing people continuously because they don't diversify. And as an entrepreneur, I think it's very, very important to diversify and not put all your eggs in one basket. So you always have a backup plan. But here is your backup plan. There are platforms like Upwork and FreeUp, which are meant for consultants with a certain amount of skills that you bring to the table. People outside of India, countries outside of India, are constantly on these platforms looking to hire really talented people from our country. That's how, if you see suddenly Bangladesh is talking about, oh, we've seen a huge jump in economy just before 2020 started, is because of that, because a lot of their people are on these platforms making themselves available. That is the first thing. Looking for a job doesn't mean going and working in an enterprise alone. It can just mean to find something to do. Second, education, digital education is at a boom. This is the time, if you have the right skills and if you have the right knowledge, Udemy, Unacademy, Simply Learn provide opportunities to skilled people to go and create their own course and start selling. Shubh, the problem is we have a very small way of looking at things. We see एक इंजीनियर है, कंपनी में काम किया, जिंदगी भर कोडिंग करेंगे. अरे बच्चों को कोडिंग सिखा दो. Parents are now teaching their children at a very young age. तो अगर आप अपना एक छोटा सा कोर्स करके बेसिक्स ऑफ कोडिंग या चलो पाइथन, रूबी ऑन रेल्स, कुछ भी आप एक ऑनलाइन अपलोड कर दो, people are going now because digital education is at a boom. Third thing, healthcare is at a boom, right? Because the amount of investment that is going to happen now in health tech, in nutraceuticals, in food supplements is going to be humongous, because all about immunity, healthy lifestyle, good eating, but people don't have time to go and buy offline. So these are going to be areas where people can start diversifying. So just like Abhishek, what he learned, he turned that into his company later on. So if you have learned something in your previous job, see how you can actually leverage that and kind of, learn from there. The other thing, which is very, very important, is when you talk about starting up, yes, you should start up, but be very cognizant of the segments that you're going to look at starting up in. Take a look at the industry 5.0 paradigm, wherever there is hyper personalization. So e-commerce is a great way to start. So if you have not a lot of money, so let me give you this tip. If you don't have a lot of money to launch your brand, drop shipping is a great idea. Drop shipping just means taking multiple brands from retail products and then launching your site and selling it, right? So you don't have to invest money directly. As you get order, you buy, you supply. As you get order, you buy, you supply. And you can tie up with brands, right, who have ideal inventory and they want to liquidate through e-commerce. If you have some savings, think of something that you're passionate about and launch a brand of yours online if you can. Amazon is a great place to launch because it already has a lot of eyeball, and then you can diversify into Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce. The other is technology. Why can't India have its own Zoom? And now with the ban on these Chinese apps, this is our time to shine. And finally, manufacturing. Guys, China is got a lot of flack from across the world. If we can invest in manufacturing right now and we can become the go-to hub for manufacturing, trust me, there is no stopping us from achieving the $5 trillion dream. So I think that's a summary, Shubh. It's important to be careful about where you're starting up and the vertical that you're starting up in. But this is a good opportunity for India, given that Atmanirbhar it's all about being Atmanirbhar. It's all about being vocal to local to global. I think it's a great opportunity for India to start in cashing, especially the youth of this country.
अभिषेक, इसके पहले कि आप इस बात पे कुछ बोले, जिंजर मंकी जो शब्द यूज किया आपने, इसके पीछे की कहानी आपने नहीं बताई. ये पहला सवाल मेरा वही था. वो बताते हुए टॉक अबाउट द अपॉर्चुनिटीज ऑफ स्टार्टिंग अप ब्यूटी.
देखिए, जिंजर मंकी का क्या सीन था कि ये आजकल क्या होता है ना कि आप कुछ ऐसा नाम रखो which could be an आइस ब्रेकर. कोई आपने मुझसे पूछा, क्यों पूछा? अगर कल को मुझे लगता है कि एक्सेलेंस एडवर्टाइजिंग इंडस्ट्री या अस्थाना ग्रुप ऑफ इंडस्ट्री, तो आप नहीं पूछते मेरे से. सिंपल बात है, इसलिए रखा कि लोग पूछते हैं कि ये आपने अटपटा नाम क्यों रखा है, तो उसके पीछे एक स्टोरी भी है। तो इसकी ये कहावत है कि बंदर क्या जाने अदरक का स्वाद, तो हम ये बोलते हैं कि हम वो बंदर हैं जो अदरक का स्वाद जानते हैं। तो ये बेसिकली सिली सा नाम है ताकि वो एक आइस ब्रेकर हो कि क्लाइंट बोले अच्छा क्या है, क्यों रखा है नाम, तो ये अच्छा आप क्रिएटिव हो मतलब। तो आपसे कुछ और काम कर सकते हैं, तो बस वही, और कोई मतलब नहीं खास इसका। मैंने एक और सोचा था पहले, आई डिड अ पोल ऑन ट्विटर एज वेल, आई आस्क्ड पीपल कि यार दो नाम मेरे दिमाग में है, तो एक कर्ड ब्रेन, दिमाग का दही बेसिकली, और जिंजर मंकी, तो लोगों ने जिंजर मंकी पे वोट दिया। मैं ठीक है, मैं ट्विटर की बात मानता हूँ, मैं चलो भाई मैंने अपनी कंपनी का नाम भी ट्विटर के नाम पे रख दिया।
अच्छा अभिषेक, आपने मुझे लगता है स्टार्ट अभी आपकी कंपनी अभी हाल फिलहाल में ही स्टार्ट हुई,
1 साल हो गया। मैंने बताया नहीं था लोगों को, स्टेल्थ मोड में थी, और अभी 1 महीने पहले मैंने एक्चुअली पब्लिकली बताया लोगों को कि ये चालू हो चुकी है।
Did the pandemic affect your business?
It affected in a very positive manner, actually. I'll tell you, I'll answer that question with the previous question you asked. So what happens is, I keep telling people, this pandemic is a great churn. Blessing in disguise maybe, but a lot of older businesses are losing business, shutting down even. And there's a lot of new use cases that are coming up, right? There is a company, I'll tell you, there's a company which has come up, which is specially dedicated to making places COVID compliant. Like what they do is basically they'll put food marks, they'll have sanitizer stations, they'll वो नहीं था जो पैसे फूड पेडल से आप सैनिटाइजर यूज करते हैं वो है, प्लस मेक की 2 मीटर की डिस्टेंस पे आप रखिए, जो फ्लोर पे जो स्टिकर्स लगते हैं, तो ये कंपनी सिर्फ यही काम करती है, एंड दे आर गेटिंग ट्रेमेंडस बिजनेस बिकॉज एवरीबडी इज लाइक यार धंधा ही नहीं आ रहा हमारे पास, तो आप ये करो। अगर ये सब चीजें रहती है ना, तो फिजिकल एविडेंस दिखता है कि हाँ दीज गाइज आर विजिलेंट अबाउट कोरोना वायरस, दिस प्लेस where I can go in could be somewhere where I can feel safe. So ये भी चल रहा है, so there is a lot of opportunities that are coming up, and also क्या हो रहा है कि in my business, especially because there are a lot of bloated companies, there are a lot of bloated retailerships already. So people want to cut flab right now, and they want to go to nimbler, smaller setups who can give us the same kind of quality or even better. So that's where we also come in. And that's why we are seeing some tremendous amount of inquiries. I mean, every second day I get like at least 2 clients who are big, who want to work something. I mean, of course, there's a conversion funnel as well, but tremendous amount of inquiries. So this pandemic, I was very worried, because when I started this in the month of March, suddenly clients started calling me and saying, "Yaar, ab to retainer katega." I mean, we are cutting down salaries and stuff. So I was like very worried ki yaar, I just started this. And I haven't even announced my company name yet. I announced in May, by the way. So I don't know how it will, pan out. But I had trust in the kind of work we have done as a team. And eventually that came through. I mean, whatever work we have done, a lot of people saw that and wanted to work with us. So we are getting a lot of queries, by the way. Yeah, so that's been good for us.
Okay. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming over. It's been
Thank
more
you.
than 45 minutes that we have been talking. And trust me, this is one of the most interesting sessions that I had for a very long time, especially because I've been inundated with requests from, these guys that I talked about in Patna. कि दीदी आप तो जानती हैं ऐसे लोगों को, आप क्यों नहीं बुलाती हैं बात करने के लिए, हम लोगों को भी तो कुछ एक्सपीरियंस सीखने को मिलेगा. So thanks a lot for spending time with us. And I hope that you guys also share it in your network so that we get some subscribers on the Churn as well. In fact, कोरोना वायरस की वजह से Churn का काम जो रुक के चल रहा था वो मेरा रेगुलर हो गया. Every week I'm getting like at least I'm doing 2 shows, one on Facebook, one exclusively for YouTube. So again, thanks both of you for coming.
Thank you, Shubhra sir, for having us. And क्योंकि बहुत लोग सुन रहे हैं and the time is difficult, अगर किसी को भी help चाहिए, so we have set up this small fund where we've got a couple of entrepreneurs who are successful to contribute and help those who are out of job or looking to do something self-sustainable. You can feel free to write to me at SOM, SOM at Assidus, ASSIDUUS.in. किसी को किसी चीज की जरूरत हो, I think this is a time we all need to help each other out. Shubhan, please share this with your network as well, because we've set up this small, it's not a huge thing, but it's $1 million fund that we're trying to see how we can help people with basics. So अगर उनको शुरुआत करने के लिए या people who've lost job to kind of connect them to the right people who are hiring. Happy to help that if that can happen through your show.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, Shubhasta. It was like we've been talking on and off. I mean, since the time we had first talked, and
Yes.
Always love your thoughts. And because there's connection of Bihar. So I'm half Bihari. I tell people that a lot of people ask me that आप कहाँ से हो भाई देवी बताओ मेरे को आप कभी एमपी की बात करते हो कभी यूपी की बात करते हो कभी बिहार की बातें करते हो तो मेरा जन्म बिहार में हुआ है मतलब मेरी माँ बिहार की है मेरे पापा यूपी के हैं तो that's how and we have traveled across by I mean got to see my education and jobs and everything so yeah India basically
Yeah. Yes.
so it was a pleasure and I mean see you soon then yeah
See you.
Thank
See
you
you.
so much, Abhishek. Such a lovely time.
Absolutely. I forgot to thank as well. I mean, see, I'll tell you, I tell people that I have come to this to learn, not like to give gyan. So this is like a gyan lene ka source hai. So I really enjoyed, I mean, talking to you two, and of course, getting you are much more experienced in this domain. So I was like, of course, getting a lot of insights from you as well was quite helpful.
Always good to learn. Thank you, Shubh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.